Yes, thanks for the announcement.
Got a nice GDPR notice. Great. So, well, like Barry already said, we've been doing quite a lot the past few months, even though we haven't done any sprint reviews, which is kind of weird. If I have to admit that we're doing Scrum, but we haven't had a lot of opportunities to actually do sprint reviews. The good thing is that we did a lot of one-on-ones with a lot of people that are using the Scrum Team Survey in the meantime, which was a great way to sort of bridge the summer break that we were in here in Europe. But just to give you a sense of the things we've been working on, the past sprints, we made a summary here on this slide. But the purpose of the Scrum Team Survey for us is to make your Scrum team more effective with evidence-based approach. So the whole idea is that we want to create a platform where you can go to see how your Scrum team is doing and then identify improvements that make sense together, and also find evidence-based suggestions on what you can actually try to make things better, because that's the step that we feel is often missing in tools like this. So the past few sprints, we've actually added some features that tie into that larger purpose. One of the things we've done is revamp the whole profile that you get when you use the Scrum Team Survey, and that will also be the focus for today's sprint review, because we're very curious to learn your feedback. We've already got some feedback on it, already made some improvements, but this is a new group and not everyone has probably seen it. So we're very curious to learn about your ideas. We've also added one of the things that Barry and I are very excited about, which is the ability for teams to actually add actions in the team report that they receive from the Scrum Team Survey. So the idea is that once you've had a conversation with your team, you can now also track and manage the interventions that you agree to do as a team. And this can be anything you want. So just open text field, you can categorize it a little bit if you like, but it's a great way to see if your interventions are actually working out. Because if you do the survey again, a couple of months down the road, you can see if things are getting better in the areas that you expect to improve because of those interventions. So that's something we released, I think, a month ago, and people are now starting to use it, which is pretty cool. But I think we'll touch on this in the review a bit further down. We've also made it simpler for subscribers to use the team dashboard to start new snapshots for teams that they can access from the team dashboard. That used to be kind of a manual process, but we've now added a nice form to make that much simpler for you. And we're going to use the coming sprints to make the team dashboard even more user-friendly. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in the future, in the next minutes as well. Now, the sprint goal for the past week for Barry and me was to expand the team dashboard to allow, it says here multi-team environments, but it should be multi-user. The idea is that a lot of our people that are using this team dashboard have asked us, can I create more user accounts so that we can actually give each of the teams their own account? They can log into the Scrum team dashboard and do whatever they want to do there. Maybe they can see all the other teams as well, maybe not. That depends on the preferences of the team and the organization. But we've worked on implementing that feature. It's almost done. I know I can't say that if we're in a Scrum environment, but we actually deployed the whole backend, which is online since Friday. And I think we'll release the actual feature, the front end feature of it on Tuesday, tomorrow. So that's going to be there as well. Barry, is there anything that you want to say about the do-it-yourself workshops? Because this is not in here, and I think that that's definitely something to mention as well.
Yeah, sure. What we've also done is created a couple of new do-it-yourself workshops, in particular an area that wasn't covered fully yet, and that is the lack of relationship conflict and the lack of the abundance of task conflict. So for both of these types of conflicts, we've created 3 new do-it-yourself workshops that you can download now. And we've connected it to the Scrum Team Survey. So if this proves to be an area that you need to work on as your Scrum team, with your Scrum team, then this is a do-it-yourself workshop, or these are do-it-yourself workshops that will appear as a recommendation.
Yep. Now, there is a whole roadmap for the future. There is a link here as well. You can explore it if you like. I'm not going to dig into that right now because that would probably take a bit too much time, but we'll use one of the coming sprint reviews to dig deeper into that, because I think it's very interesting also to get your feedback on the bigger roadmap that we have in mind. I also have a couple of sprint goals mentioned here for coming sprints, but I think, Barry, it might be nice to revisit this page at the end of the sprint review.
Yeah.
And just actually start doing some reviewing, because otherwise we're talking too much.
Yep. Any questions so far about what we explained on what we've done, the past sprint goals? Okay, I'm gonna assume that the silence is no feedback. Let's move on. And moving on means moving into a sort of exercise that we've done as well for the past sprint reviews. So some of you might be familiar with what we are going to do right now, which is my favorite part of these online sprint reviews. It's something that's, well, we just gave it a name, a review fishbowl, which means that we are gonna ask one volunteer, one brave person that, are you raising your finger, Chris? Or?
No, just saying one.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna review mine.
No, you cannot join. One other person besides Christian that's going to volunteer to just click in this example through the profile that we've updated, redesigned, redeveloped, etc. And just share with us what it is that you are noticing, what it is that you are seeing, things that stand out for you just while talking out loud, etc. We can explain it a bit more in detail, but the very first step for now is to get a volunteer. It's a lot of fun. We won't make fun of you, of course. We will just, you be our hero for today and maybe also for the rest of the future, etc. So who would like to volunteer to help us out with this review fishbowl? The only thing that you do need to do is share your screen, but that's it.
The thing is, I would love to pretend to be a hero. I do feel some concerns with my laptop being a bit slow, and I'm not really sure if I'm able to log in.
Ah, okay.
So if someone's already there and has the screen ready.
Yeah, your connection also seems a bit shaky, or it's shaky on my side, could also be, but so thanks, Jared. I appreciate it a lot, but
I'm trying to create a bit of motivation for some other people who say, well, let's have this sorry-ass guy, this sorry-ass laptop.
So who would like to, besides Jared, would like to volunteer?
Maybe I can.
Yes, excellent. I'm going to try to pronounce your name correctly. Is it Ayiza?
Yes, absolutely. You can pronounce my name anyway. I really don't mind it. So
excellent.
Ayiza, we'll do that.
Excellent.
Okay, so maybe I share my screen.
Yeah.
I have to give you sharing permissions, or Barry has to give you sharing
permissions. Yes, I've changed it. You should be able to share your screen right now.
Okay. Right. So everybody, I hope can see my screen where the results are displayed.
Yes. And Chris, can you maybe explain the flow, the steps?
Ayiza, first a question before you start clicking through it. Have you seen the previous version of the report that we used to present to teams, or is this the first time that you're seeing it?
No, I believe this is the first time.
Okay. That's great, because I think there are some people in the audience that have seen it once before, so they can maybe also compare it with the previous version, but for you, it's a fresh one, and that's great. So this is the first time that you're seeing this report. Can you maybe just look at it and try to verbalize what you're thinking, what you're seeing, and what you think it means? So you can just scroll around, click on things, just try to verbalize. Whatever you say is okay.
So my first top priority would be to look at the stakeholders. Maybe I can add in some context, because I have very tough stakeholders and some really irate customers or unhappy end users. So I will try to click on it and see if it changes. Okay, but still the color coding is helping me out, but I'm unable to understand the grid somehow. But if I bring my cursor on it, range 7.2, lowest 15% of teams. Excuse me for the noise in my background. I'm very sorry for that.
Oh, we don't hear any noise at all. This is fine.
Okay, that is good. Somehow I want to see over here, okay, what is the scale? I can't understand the scale. But then it's still telling me that it's urgent. And is it 59? It is like 59% urgent. So how do I improve it? And if I click on it, then it comes into this, which is further detail, but I want to see, okay, where is my team? Where are the stakeholders lying? Overall, the pattern I'm seeing is that they are somehow still in the middle. I don't know, what does this pink color represent? This is top teams by responsiveness. So they are lagging behind the top teams. Like here, they are very much on the margin. Somewhere in the middle over here, team autonomy, management support, stakeholder. But responsiveness, and then I have to see what is the definition of responsiveness. So if I click on it, okay, so are we talking about time to market? Seems like that thing, ship it fast before. And then
You're doing really great, by the way. This is perfect. Thank you so much. You're really good at verbalizing what you're seeing while you're doing it. It's great.
Thanks. And over here, this is a bit alarming because everything is urgent and everything is almost above 50%, which is not very good, which tells me almost half of it is there. Here it's 33%, but I still want to see, okay, how do I further put a filter to prioritize where to work on first? And then I'm missing the impact. Where do I attack first to get a better impact? But maybe I stop talking now and maybe you talk.
Mm-hmm. So the question that you're asking is, so where would you start, right, as a team? Because of course there's a lot of information in this report. Now, what do you think it tells you about where to start? Do you see anything in the report that might help you or give you a sense of where to start?
So I will again come to this portion where I somehow find the summary. Mm-hmm. And then, okay, I can maybe click on this link, but just by looking at it, and then I will make a very quick mental note. What is the easiest at the moment to work on where I will get results very quickly? Mm-hmm. Because quick results are at the moment very important in context to my stakeholders. Mm-hmm. And then again, these two are about stakeholder experience, but if I talk about refinement, release frequency, or responsiveness, this is again part of their experience. So
what would help you the most? I mean, in terms of, because you're looking for a quick start, of course, something you can pick up right away. What would you hope to see?
I would say, again, if I bring in some context, my team is very motivated. Everybody is pretty much open. There, let's say we do not have a problem, but we certainly have challenges in management support, which doesn't seem to be probably the case over here. And then I would want to somehow see in a report that is there influence of management coming into team's independence? And then can team just go and can we do this all by ourselves? For example, stakeholder experience, release frequency. And in my opinion, it is pretty much in the control of the team. But having said so, now I'm going maybe more deeper into this issue. Unplanned work is coming from C-level, which is completely out of the sprint scope. However, team has to do it. So it's very much like a command and control approach coming into this. In this context, should I pick stakeholder release frequency or should I pick something else? And can the report help me in making that decision?
Maybe, can you maybe try to click on responsiveness just to see what happens? Because this team apparently has some issues there. And what are you seeing right now? So maybe you can click around a little bit because now you're in the tips page where you get some practical tips. What do you see?
Okay, so the impact is over here. Recommendation is 59 of 100. And but I still want to see what does impact entail? What will improve? So close to this increase the awareness, okay. Higher shipping rate. So the biggest concern I have is the technical debt, because shipping fast also can increase the technical debt. And there, okay, so I can download an experiment, I can identify creative solutions, and then I can have do-it-yourself workshops. What if, okay, to be the devil's advocate,
Sure.
what if I don't have time to do the workshops because the team is so overburdened with work?
So you would like to get also in this report, maybe a very simple first thing to do. That's not necessarily a whole do-it-yourself workshop, but just one thing that you can do.
Yes, maybe I think you put it very nicely, that a day-to-day, very immediate, simple action that can be very easily incorporated into daily work. So there is a lot of workload. However, there is still some action that is helping us improve shipping fast, but with quality. So less buggy product is going to the stakeholders, which is making them less irritated and more happy.
I think that's a really good idea. See Barry already adding something in the chat about 15% solutions, sort of adding those, like the first steps that you can take. That's a great idea. Thank you so much. Yes, up to this point, we've explored the report and the tips. Now, one of the things we also added was the ability for teams to add actions, the improvements that they intend to take. Can you find those in the report, and can you try to see what actions there are for this team?
Okay, so if I go on how to improve, that is where I expect to find, and then there are do yourself workshops. Aha, okay. So is no one supposed to help me? Because audience, you can also just contribute, and then, okay, if I go to actions, sort by, so I want to sort by type of intervention.
Yeah, so what you're seeing right now is the interventions that this team apparently decided upon, right, to do with their team.
And then product discovery is kind of, let's say, again, in my example, not done very much, because it's very much like a command and control approach. What needs to be done is very much coming from the C-level, let's say. So I would focus on psychological safety and self-management and cross-functionality. So these two are certainly relevant, because it will somehow, if not 100% empower the team. 100% empowerment is never the case, and also I believe it's not very good, but it will also give more ability to the team to handle the situation better. So I think I will go for these. And if now I'm trying to find out, how do I click on it to, so
what would you like to see?
Do I buy the experiment? Do I buy these actions, or?
Oh, right. Oh, that's a good one. No, these are just the actions that the team agreed on to do together. So these are basically these could be the outcomes from a sprint retrospective, where they say, for example, we're going to improve the safety in our team, for example, is too low, which is the one that's in the screen right now. We're going to work on that. So, and in this case, they've actually registered that improvement in this dashboard so that they can follow it in the future, make sure that they actually do it.
Okay. Let's say if only this source is available, then maybe I would want to also have some, you can say it a very, very basic examples, as in, okay, psychological safety, but how do we create psychological safety? And if I want to know that, where can I go in this report? Are there any more links?
Yeah, you would like to dig deeper into that. Well, that's understandable. We can improve that, I think, that connection.
Because this can be a very good tool, a self-help tool for the team. But then let's say team is again not 100% clear as in what is psychological safety, or how they can understand what, but then how do they do it? And how do they improve their self-management? Is there already some self-taking survey that they can do, which puts them on a place on some scale and somehow gives them a guideline as in, where are they currently in self-management or cross-functionality? And what can they do to improve that? But maybe I'm going too much into detail.
No, that's fine. And I think there's also a good end for the part where you can click around through it. You've done really well. Thank you so much for sharing your thinking process while you're clicking through this, because you haven't seen it before, right? So this is the first time that you're doing this. So like Mahesh, applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And let me just clarify one thing that about how the report works. So basically the team that I just shared had a couple of challenges, mostly in terms of stakeholder experience. They scored pretty low on that. So for example, if the team would score low on psychological safety, you would be able in your report to find actionable improvements to increase psychological safety. So I don't know, Barry, I think we have 3 do-it-yourself workshops for psychological safety. So these would be then recommended to that team. So you can actually do that with your team, which is the whole idea of the Scrum Team Survey. We really want to, one client last week described the Scrum Team Survey as a decentralized agile coach. We kind of want to allow Scrum teams to do it on their own. So that would definitely be possible, the psychological safety question that you raised. There were some raised hands during the sprint review, and I want to make sure if those are, so Youssef, you are raising your hand. Is there something a question that you have or a bit of feedback that you have?
Yeah, the intervention of Isa make me think about something about visibility of where to start from. Maybe as you did in the zombie scrum, there is a do-it-yourself first aid kit, sorry. Maybe we can think about a customized first aid kit based on the Scrum team.
That's a great idea.
Based on the survey to start from.
That's a good idea. So basically, in that case, you would send a team like a customized do-it-yourself or a first aid kit with 3 workshops that will definitely make a big improvement and are easy to do, for example.
Yes. Yeah. Because the areas in the results are all in this at the same level from a visibility point of view or responsiveness, but we don't have like a zoom on the what is urgent visibly. I mean.
And what would you like to zoom in on?
On the most urgent.
Oh, the most urgent one,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
Maybe this is also a good moment to go to the next step. And I was sharing my screen, but then I discovered that it's not that easy to set up breakout rooms and share your screen. So maybe Chris, can you share the Google presentation once again?
I will do that.
And then I'll set up the breakout rooms. Let me see. Can you explain, Chris, what they're going to do next? I'm going to do small groups, 2 or 3 participants per room.
What are we doing, Barry? The Fishbowl?
So, yeah, I've already created them, so that's fine. So what we are doing is you've been listening to this review of Fishbowl and watching, etc. as well. So the question for now is I'm going to do 8 minutes in a breakout room. You'll find 1 or 2 other person in that breakout room as well. Just share your findings and thoughts with each other, just like Youssef already did just now. Share your findings and thoughts with each other. What are things that you noticed? Maybe you've already tried the survey before and you still have the previous profile in mind. What are things that you notice? What are improvements? Maybe some things that are missing that you used to find very interesting or valuable before. And in the new report, you can't see them anymore. That could also be an observation or finding. Just have a conversation about, in particular, the profile page. And in the 8-minute time box as well, share your notes in the next slide. Chris, maybe we can just show it in the Google presentation. Just if you are in room 1, in the top of your screen, you can see which room you are. Just pick this text box and share your key insights on this slide. After 8 minutes, you'll be back in the main channel, and then we'll debrief everything together. Anything to add, Chris?
Oh, perfect. Very looking forward to the ideas.
Let me see. Yusuf is alone in one room. I'm just going to move Yusuf to room 5.
Am I in one of the rooms, by the way?
No, but of course you can.
No, that's okay. I'll jump in. Maybe I don't want to influence the conversation.
Cool. So see you back in 8 minutes.
See you then. Enjoy.
Yeah, everyone is in a breakout room. Some people try to join the session, but I don't allow them to join anymore, Chris. It's a bit too late to let them in.
Yeah, that's okay.
So 8 minutes. So once they are back, we can debrief the notes, their findings, and then focus on what we're going to do next.
Okay, so room 3 has 2 people, but maybe that's okay.
No, that's fine. Yeah. So we've got 4 rooms in total. Okay.
Is it recording this part as well, or can we pause the recording? Because
we can pause. I've closed the breakout rooms.
See what other teams used as actions. Share your actions. That's on a vette. Those are some great ideas. Barry, we should announce the sprint review in the dashboard. Actually, now come to think of it.
Oh, yeah, that's quite obvious.
So I think most of you are dropping back in. If you haven't done so, you can maybe capture some of the big ideas or the small ideas or the valuable ideas in slide number 7. I'm also writing one more down.
And if you are already done, just take some time to read what other people wrote down. In a moment, we're going to give each group some time to explain some of their key findings or ideas.
Barry, I love this. This is great. They're coming up with such great ideas. And confirming.
Hey, maybe when the writing is done, Chris, that you refresh the presentation.
Sorry. Yeah, sure. I'll do that. I'm still focused on reading.
I think most people, well, there's still some writing going on. Maybe we can already start. Room 1 seems to be stable with writing their feedback. So is there someone from room 1 who would like to take maybe 1 or 2 minutes to share their findings? You can share all of them. You don't have to. It's up to you.
Well, I can quickly, but Mona and Mahesh, please add your points of view. So what what is really good, or I think should really be highlighted, that this is anonymous, if I spelled it correctly. So that's really like everybody is aware that there is no way also to track this results back. I think just for creating this safety, and that people feel free to like be honest about it. What we quickly had was also that at least I kind of was confused by this impact number that is written there. And usually like, what does 59 out of 100 now mean exactly? And so I was not the only one, at least, that maybe didn't get it right away. I think when you hover over it, it's a bit more clear, but that was just something that stood out. And I think we had several like notes that maybe there is some kind of, and what was even noted before by Yusuf was this maybe predefined actions to kickstart, or just something like to quickly get going in some areas might be interesting. then we had this show improvements over time and also maybe link it to the actions. I think we didn't look at this team dashboard now, but I think you have the trend there. Maybe it could also like we could show the actions there maybe, or you, because you, I think you tag it. I don't remember the actions, but might be interesting to also know whether it had an impact later on, or, and what else? Then perhaps this further reading, or this was just something I started talking about it, and then the breakout was closed. So I just added here that maybe it might be interesting for certain topics to also link to blog posts or books or YouTube video to some talk or so, explaining some things just to give some context, so people maybe can get a deeper understanding of what this really means, or what is now relationship conflict exactly, or something like this.
Yeah.
I also realized that you actually have the explore button that links to a blog post. Apparently, I wasn't aware of this. So, but or at least it wasn't clear to me that explore means it's going to a blog post. But
right. Those are great ideas. Thank you so much. What the group was? Bench, Mona, and Mahesh, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd just like to add something else. It's about the history. I think as I'm a agile coach, that's important kind of for us to show that, okay, what was the improvement of the team, or where we focus on, what we prioritize for next, I don't know, let's say for next quarter, for this quarter. And it's kind of give us visibility, increase the transparency with the stakeholders. And if there's a chance that we can communicate that with them, that's kind of useful.
Great, good one. Yeah. So let's move to room 2. Maybe because time-wise, Barry, I think we have 15 minutes left. So maybe we can just pick out the 1 or 2 things that you thought were the most useful ones to add. I mean, everything is useful, but maybe there were 2 that were definitely the most important for you. Not sure who room 2 was, by the way.
That's I
think Eric, you could be the best in phrasing this, because you're using it actually with your teams already.
Yeah, I actually started a new survey last week with my team, so I already discovered most of the new stuff. It was really cool. What I had 2 things. First of all, the number of improvements might be a bit demotivating for my team. Just something to think about, and it's very. I'm not sure how to start a new survey, except through the reminder.
Do you have the team dashboard as well, Erik? Do you know if you have access to that?
It's an extra.
Yeah, well, basically it's available to subscribers, but also to patrons in the Liberator tier. You can, and then you can have more teams in one single dashboard, and from there it's actually quite easy. You just have a button, new snapshot, and then you.
Oh, well, but that's really cool. Thank you. No, but I think in general the whole idea of having a snapshot, it might be interesting to somehow make that more intuitive, because I also noticed that I was in a room with 2 guys who hadn't used the tool before, and I actually explained to them the whole idea of the snapshots.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one. We should explain that more in the report probably as well. That's sort of the big idea. You do it once, then you do it again, and then you can see in the we have team trends that you can see if there are improvements happening over time, because that's ultimately what you're going for, right?
Yeah, it's what makes the survey so powerful.
Great. Thank you so much. Obviously, you had some other things as well, but this is a good highlight, I think. Maybe room 3, Cheered and Patrick. What did you come up with? A whole lot. But what are the things that you think are the most relevant ones for now?
Well, for now, it's just trying to note it down. I was like working on the buttons on the left, which I like. On the left to the report, tips, actions and stuff. But then on my screen, there seem to be some buttons double, and I don't really understand it.
If you still have it, can you share a screenshot with me after the sprint review? I can take a look what it's causing it.
Right. So the button on report, I've got double, and the tips and the actions. And I really wanted to stress out the actions button to note down team actions on how to improve. Great, I really loved it. Haven't worked with it yet, but I will do. So to me, that's a great improvement.
Cool. Cool. That's it for room 2?
Just checking on Patrick.
3.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, room
Yes.
3. Sorry.
Patrick was just introduced to the report
Yes,
and didn't work
okay.
with it, but maybe you have some additions.
No, I didn't because actually this is my first time to join the meetup, as well as the first time to see the tools. I haven't done the survey, so that hopefully this meeting is I just sit in the meeting to understand a little bit more about the survey, and I will be assigned to be Scrum Master for a project in the next couple of weeks. Because I used to be a project manager, and now I changed my role to Scrum Master, and I understand that I need to do some mindset changes in order to perform the jobs. Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe the Scrum Team Survey can help, right? That's I can imagine that's also why you're here. Maybe interested in using it. Cool. Let's move to the last room, room 5. Tamara, Ayeza, and Youssef. What are the 2 things that you think are the most useful to add? Because maybe some people already mentioned some of your ideas as well.
Yeah, I think well, with the numbers, is it from 95 till 100? Well, that's already mentioned. I think also the other 2 had more feedback than I had, so probably they can say better what they meant. But I think one of the feedback that I also like the most is to make it more like a visual, like with graphics or with charts. I think that can make it maybe maybe easier to read. Also, I think the colors position to be grouped for your team stakeholders on maybe you can Youssef, you can explain that one, because I think that's an interesting one.
It's a minor one, I would say, in the list, but just for visibility in the colors description to group the 3, because we are all together, let's say, from one team, and separate from the pink one, which is all the world, let's say, to see where we are from the others. Yeah.
It's a good one. Nice. Anything else from you, group 5?
Well, I think the first one, the 4 or 5 priorities to be highlighted more on the top.
Right.
You can make it better. Yeah.
I think that's sort of a pattern that's connecting all the feedback that you're giving. Is like, it would be nice for us as a team to more quickly know what is the thing we should invest in.
Yeah.
And while you were in your breakout rooms, Barry and I were talking about sort of how challenging that is, because we also don't want to make it seem like it's easy. Like, okay, these are the 5 things the 5 silver bullets that will improve how things are going in your team. Yeah. But it's a very understandable need, and we just have to find a good way to support that.
And I think as a Scrum Master, you probably would know the 5 priorities of your team or what you have seen. But I think it's a little bit of the feedback from the team itself as well.
Sure.
Like, yeah.
And for the people that haven't seen the survey before, there is also a do-it-yourself workshop that you can download from the report. Maybe you've already seen it just now. And it's basically a workshop that Barry and I often use to interpret the results of the feedback of the report with your team, and to also work together to identify improvement actions. So that's one thing we always recommend. Make it a team effort to make sense of the numbers, maybe completely different interpretation than we give in the report, because you know more about your context, but then you can also come up with better improvements even than the ones that we suggest.
So
Barry, is there...
We've got 5 minutes left.
Oh, right. There's so much more I want to ask.
Yeah,
well,
so I just want to point it out. Maybe we can use the remaining 5 minutes for a bit more forward-looking. What people can expect.
Yeah, let's do that. So let me just thank you all incredibly for all these great ideas. one thing that you should know is that Barry and I have been going back and forward on the impact number. Barry is not a fan of it. I just wanted to have it in there. But I said, let's remove it when more people say it's an issue and not just one person. So you've convinced me that we have to remove this. Find a better solution for it at least. So thank you for helping us answer one of the decisions that Barry and I were facing. I think I'm still sharing my screen, right? Yeah, I am. Yeah. So I've also added an overview of all the other things we've been doing since the last sprint review, which is quite a lot. There's one thing I want to draw out specifically, and Benji also mentioned that one. One of the big improvements I think we've made is to make the survey completely anonymous. So if your team doesn't want to add an email address or a name, you don't have to. You can now fill in the whole survey without entering an email address. The only thing you don't have in that case is an email that gives you a link to the report. So if you close your browser and you don't have the URL for the report, it's gone, and we cannot get it back for you either because we don't know how to link you to one of the participants, but it's now possible to fully anonymize it. I think that that's a big improvement that we made. For the coming, let's go back to this one. For the coming sprints, I think the focus for Barry and me is going to be on the team dashboard, which we haven't explored in this sprint review. The team dashboard is currently for subscribers and for patrons in the Liberator tier, and it's basically one place where you can see all the teams in your organization and work together to make changes together with those teams and over those teams. There's a new design being prepared right now, and we will share it on Discord after this sprint review when it's ready. And we're very interested in your feedback on that as well. And I think the coming sprints will be focused on implementing the new team dashboard and a whole bunch of features that we have in mind for that. And after that, we will go to the survey, the actual questions that you have to enter with your team. We're going to improve that user experience as well, but I think that will be probably next month or something. The full roadmap is also included. I think some people are already exploring that. It's changing all the time, to be honest, because we have a lot of new ideas that come in from sprint reviews like this one. But this is sort of the plan that we have right now. And in general, if you want, you can use it for free. So the Scrum Team Survey at the core is free and it will remain free. If you want to use it with more teams, or if you want to get more evidence-based feedback with your team, you can subscribe. It's $10 for one team, and I think the price goes down the more teams you add. And you can just scale up and down as you go. And like we already said, if you're a Liberator tier, if you're a patron in the Liberator tier, you can use it for free for up to 3 teams. So if you want to use that, make sure to let us know and we'll get you set up with that.
Cool.
So Barry,
one thing to add is content-wise, roughly in September, we're going to work on do-it-yourself workshops that have to do with quality. It's going to be September/October-ish. It's quite a lot of work to create these workshops. After that, we've got the area of product discovery that we're going to create some do-it-yourself workshops and experiments for. So, you know, I think that's it, Chris.
I think so too. And that brings us to the end where we can go back to work. No, this is the best part of the day. And it was really a lot of fun to hear your thoughts and your ideas, and for you to spend an hour with us, which is just incredible. And we hope to see you again for a next sprint review. I think the next one, we haven't scheduled one, but I think we'll do one in 4 weeks from now, I think, when we have the new team dashboard, and we would like to get your feedback on that. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day and see you next time.
Cool. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.
Bye.
Around for a bit if you want. Barry and I will probably be